Bathurst is one of the most feared racetracks in the world. It actually opened in April 1938 with the first Bathurst 1000 starting in 1975. It is one of the highlights of every racing year, and this week the GTCs are there on a very, very feared track. It's actually a public road, and it's very unusual in the fact that it looks pretty much exactly like it does in real life when you see it and when you race it, which is really, really cool. I said this week we're going to round 4 and we are in Bathurst. I'm Oliver Sells. Joining me as always is John King. How are you today, John?
Pretty good. Looking forward to this one. I did the race earlier on today, and it's still one of my favourite tracks on iRacing.
I love it. I love watching it in real life. I love racing on it as well. It's fantastic. Going back to the Mustang Championships, Ben Snell's obviously a big lead, having won the first 3 rounds. It'll be interesting to see if anyone can catch him. John and Stefan and Troy are very, very close behind. In the Jetta Championship, Gustavo and Jackson are in a really frantic battle. Jackson's got a slight lead, having won 2 of the 3 rounds, but it's still up for anyone's race. Unfortunately, Gustavo didn't make the last round, but with 2 drop rounds he should be okay. And in the Solstice Championship, Mr. Consistency Brad Fenley is still in the lead. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Sven Pluter or Iron Riviera since round 1, but Craig Hopkins is obviously, as always, giving him a run for his money, so that is still wide open as well.
Here's a qualifying lap from a race I did earlier. Across the start finish line, accelerate as hard as possible until you get to the Hells corner, down to 4th for Hells, and try and get a early exit so that you get as much speed as possible down Mountain Straight. Keep the car nicely in line, up through the gears, probably up to 5th by now, and then just as you crest the hill in the Jetta you change to 6th. For Quarry, I'm changing down to 4th here. Sometimes in good weather conditions you can change to 5th, but I think here I'm changing down to 4th. Nice line out, not too close to the wall, and then up the hill. For the cut-in, down to 4th, keep it very tight on the apex, and then accelerate hard up the hill. You need to keep a nice line here, use as much of the track as possible, but you can't clip the wall. If you clip the wall, the Jetta dies very quickly. Onto Skyline now. Best to avoid the curbs because it can damage the suspension of the car, and then down into the S's. The S's are taking 4th, and I actually go a little bit wider here than I normally do. They're just there, but it's okay. I recover the line okay. Now down the hill, accelerating hard until you get to the Dipper. Dipper again in 4th. Keep a nice tight line on entry, as much of the road as possible on exit, and then down Conrod Straight. Like most cars, the little kink just before the chase is completely flat, but it's important to get a good line into the chase itself. For the Jetta, the chase is a little bit between 4th and 5th gear. I think here I'm changing to the 4th, but later on in the race I was staying in 5th. Nice line through here, and accelerate hard to Murray's Corner. Down to 4th for this. Most people run a little bit wider than I do here, but I'd like to stay off the curbs if possible. The Jetta doesn't accelerate very well when it's unstable. And that's it. This lap, the weather conditions are slightly different for the race we're showing, but this would have put me in 2nd place on the grid here.
Okay, let's have a look at the qualifying results. Ben Snell has managed to get pole position again. That's 4 races in a row for him. Once again, is anyone going to stop Ben Snell? 2nd was Troy McGraw. 3rd, Lewis Kugley making his long-awaited return. And we've got John Barry, Gary Fishwick, Hannu Pearson, another new guy from Finland, Stephen Patmore, Kieran Bryan, and then myself. Actually going near the back in the jet is Jackson Frey with another fantastic time. Managed to get on pole almost a second and a half quicker than the next nearest jetter of Russell Clark. Unfortunately, Gustavo couldn't make it here today. He had some technical difficulties with his computer, so it'll be a chance for Jackson to obviously stretch his legs in that class.
Yeah, that's a really good lap by Jackson. In the qualifying lap that we saw earlier, my lap was 2:33.0, so 4/10 off of Jackson's time, and I think the conditions are slightly worse here, so Jackson would have given me a good beating as well.
Okay, and on to the Solstice battle. Alan Opilok, who we haven't seen all season, with once again another fantastic time. He was almost a second and a half quicker than championship leader Brad Friendly. Then we've got another new person, Lachlan Boyd, Craig Hopkins, and Guayo Pedro Mendez. And there's a couple of other people below that didn't set qualifying times. They will actually get to start in their class order. So yeah, that's the field. I think all in all we had about 23 cars, so a really good field, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing them in action. Okay, so obviously some things to watch out for. The first one is obviously, we've touched on this before, Lewis Kugley is back. He's actually a really quick Mustang driver. He used to be a former teammate of ours. Really nice guy, really quick. Be interesting to see if he can be the person that topples Ben Snell. The other thing to watch out for is obviously this place is incredibly hard on cars. Obviously, hitting any wall is pretty much game over, a bit like Monaco, but the curb at the top of Skyline, which is right at the top of the hill, just after McPhillamy Park, is a big Mustang killer. I know a couple of times in practice and in previous seasons I've destroyed my car there. I'm sure John has. So yeah, it'll be interesting. You want to obviously get as good a run as you can up through there, but that is definitely going to kill the car. And obviously we've touched on this, it's attrition. It's a 40-minute race, and obviously it's about going quick, but it's also about not hitting those walls, because if you hit those walls and damage your car, you probably won't make it down the mountain. So yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race. I'm really looking forward to it. You got anything else, any other stories we need to follow, John?
No, I don't think so. Panu Persona as well is a very quick Mustang driver. I don't think he, like Lewis, hasn't driven one for a long time, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But I think that the two of them are both quicker than they showed in qualifying. Probably neither of them did any practice, they just jumped into the race. So it'll be good to see how they go. And yeah, attrition is just amazing here. I'm sure that the walls at Bathurst are 3 times harder than anywhere else.
We make them tough in Australia.
Yeah, and they jump out in front of you as well sometimes, I'm sure.
That's actually the Kangaroos, which iRacing hasn't simulated yet. Maybe they should do. Okay, we're on to the start of the race. Obviously, you got Ben Snell on pole, followed by Troy McGraw. Then you've obviously got Lewis Kugley in the all-black car behind that, and alongside that is John Barry. So the race car's just pulled off once against a rolling start. They're going through Murray's Corner for the start of the race. Oh, looks like Ben's got a great start there, and Lewis looks like he's followed him into turn 1. Sorry, down the straight, and you can see them swarming everywhere already. Into Hell Corner, this is very important. You get a good run up the mountain straight. Oh, I heard some noise in the background. I don't know if there was any car damage, but you can see all the dirt and dust on the road. It is a public road, so obviously there's not a lot of racing rubber down yet. Looks like Troy's got a bit of a run, or is that John Barry? No, that's Troy. Looks like he had a bit of a run up the hill. Is Lewis going to dive into the first corner? Don't think he will. They're going up into Griffin's Bend now. It's a very tricky corner. Very easy to run wide there and hit the wall. Lewis is all over Ben Snell. Looks like Ben Snell's got his run for his money today, eh, John?
I think so. And Lewis is a very smart driver here. He knows the best way to pass someone is to put pressure on them and force them into making a mistake. So I think he'll just sit behind Ben for a couple of laps.
Probably not a bad strategy, especially up here. This is obviously a very technical track, and here you go. They're coming up to Skyline, just round this next corner, and then you'll see Skyline right here. This is the Mustang killer. Do they all manage to avoid the curb this time? They're all being very gentle with the curb. Oh, someone's already hit the wall. I don't know if that was Lewis or Troy. Someone definitely hit the wall.
Ben hit the wall.
Oh,
He's already got
Ben!
damage
Wow.
in the front.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, you can see that. Oh, yeah, he's bent that out of shape. He's got to be careful with that because that'll A, slow him down from the aerodynamics, but B, if he does that too many times, he'll destroy his steering. So yeah, he's got to be careful with that. Troy's got a great run coming out of Forest Elbow. Is he going to be able to get past Lewis into the chase? This is a very, very tricky section of track. Chase was never originally though. Oh, what is Ben doing going onto the grass? That is crazy. Shane Van Gisbergen all over again. What was he doing there? Into the chase. As I said, this was never originally part of the Bathurst track. I think this was added in about 1985 for the World Touring Car Championship because they wouldn't allow a straight to be too long. Takes a bit of the joy away from the track, but I've done it in a road car at 60 k's an hour and it's scary. In these things it's even more scary. And Ben looks like he's got a decent lead, but yeah, he's definitely dinged his car up, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think Lewis has done the same as well. His car looks a little bit out of shape on the front right.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. It's just a bit harder to tell on Lewis's car, obviously being black. But yeah, as you can see as he goes around Hell Corner, he's definitely got some right side damage. Oh, and Troy's got a nice run here. It's very hard to overtake at Bathurst, surprisingly, and this is actually one of the spots to do. If you get a good run up here, you get a nice thing into Griffin's Bend because you really can't overtake up the hill. Or sorry, going across the hill. You've either got to really overtake going up the hill or down the hill. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it looks like he's settled back. So maybe, as you said, he's doing the same thing. Maybe he's just letting them sort of run their own race and just settling down because, as I said, it's a 40-minute race, so there's going to be sort of 17, 18 laps, I think. My maths isn't the greatest, but around that sort of figure. So you can see just Ben. Oh, someone's hit the wall again. I didn't see that. Do you know who that was, John?
I think it might have been John Barry.
Oh, John Barry's hit the wall. Oh, here we go. We got a replay.
No, this is following on from it.
Following on. Yeah, you.
To see John.
All right. No, you can see. Yeah, it looks like he's got some right side damage as well. This is obviously the trend of the race. Let's see how much right side damage we can get to the car. Yeah, he's definitely. Oh! And that's what we're talking about. Right over Skyline, hit the curb, and you can see his car is just absolutely lunch now, isn't it? That's horrible. Now he does get a free reset, so if he can make it back to the pits, he will be able to get back into the race, but he's lost a lot of time. Started the Jetta race here. Jackson Frere obviously on pole. It's a fantastic start. Looks like Russell's really with him. Oh, they're going 3 wide at the start. That's interesting. Looks like Russell actually got ahead of him on the start, so I'm not actually sure how that works. I thought that the guy on pole has to start, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they were in line all right, but the outside line is a little bit better here, so you always get a slightly better jump. So
well, there you go. Yeah, you go. Russell's going to be interesting to see if he can keep him ahead for obviously that amount of time, because you saw from qualifying Jackson was quite a bit quicker. Now whether that was just quali pace and Russell made a mistake, we don't know, but it's great to see 5 Jettas out there. I've never obviously driven this track in a Jetta, but from what John's telling me, it's an absolute blast. So hopefully these guys stick together and have a good battle. You can see, yeah, I mean, Russell, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long. I think Jackson's not going to stay behind him for that long. It looks like he's pretty keen to get into the lead straight away, so can't really make any moves up here, but if he stays with him up the thing, he'll either make a mistake, or he might get him coming down the mountain. So let's see if any of them clip the wall as well, if it's just a Mustang thing. Well, they seem to be okay now with their nice clean diesel power. They've dropped one of the other Jettas already. I don't know which Jetta they've dropped, but let's see. Oh look, they give plenty of space to the curb. That's probably the safe way to. That's a very tricky braiding point through McPhillamy Park. Very easy to go straight on. Very easy to clip that wall. This is difficult as well. It falls away. Wonderful corner. I really enjoy racing here. I'm just really slow here. I don't think I have a big enough cojones to do it. Look at that. Oh, he looks like he's almost drifting through that corner, Jackson. I don't think that's the way to do it. What do you think here, John? You think he's going to be able to get a bit of a run on him, or do you think he's too far back?
Yeah, he's probably a little bit too far back. The Jettas, you get a good draft in, but you run out of revs at the end of the straight, so you gain for the first half of the straight, and after that you really don't gain very much at all.
Oh, can you change the gearing on them, or are they fixed setup?
No, it's basically fixed setup.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Jackson's got a nice run. Is he? Oh, look at that! Dived up him into the cutting. Oh, I think they hit each other.
Yep, that was definitely a little bit of contact there.
Wow, I think Jackson was maybe a little bit ambitious trying to get him into the chase there. And look at it, we're all over the place. The other couple of Jetters, Brian De Bruin's right behind him as well. Didn't actually mention about that. Brian De Bruin's another teammate of ours, long-time Jetta driver. He's in the race. Haven't seen him race for a while. So it's good to see Brian there. Looks like he's about to get overtaken though. Maybe it's best just to hang back there, Brian. Wait for those two to take each other off.
Yeah, I don't think Brian's done any racing for the last 9 months or so. So I think this might be his first race for a long time. So it might take him a little bit of a while to get into it again. But he's a really good driver, Brian.
He's a fantastic driver. As I said, an interesting choice of race to get back into. You think maybe you want to go with one that's a bit easier. It looks like Jackson's got to run up the inside here. On the inside for that corner, but the problem is he's going to be then on the outside of the cutting, so unless he gets it done here, it looks like he's done it easily. That was a really nice pass. Griffin's been, I think that might be it. I think Jackson might pull away from them here, unless the other Jettas sort of work together. I think that Jackson's speed in qualifying, he might start to drive away from them here.
Yeah, Russell went a bit wide there, so the gaps opened up almost immediately.
Yeah, and you can see, is it Dan Barker? Or is it Gareth Lavelle? Must be Gareth Lavelle. Number 8 is right behind him as well, so Russell might end up losing a couple of spots here. That's a bit of an interesting line there. Got to be careful that you don't hit that curb either. Yeah, everywhere at Bathurst is treacherous. Not just Skyline, every curb is monstrous. Oh, someone's hit the wall there. Saw a bit of paintwork.
Yeah, you got to get close to the wall to be fast. So everyone scrapes the wall a little bit. Even I do that, and I'm normally scared of walls.
That is true. I think they say if you've got a sheet of paper between you and the outside of the wall, you haven't pushed hard enough at Bathurst. So you've really got to get there. But yeah, as I said, I did this in a road course, in a road car, and it's 60 kilometres an hour speed limit. And you don't realise how steep it is from top to bottom at Bathurst. I think the grade at one point is 1 to 6.13, so it's really huge. Start of the Solstice field here, being led away by Alan Opilock. As I said, Aussie guy, hasn't actually done much in the series. Hopefully we'll see him a bit more because he's pretty quick. It looks like he's got a great start. Looks like Brad got a little bit wiggly there. These things here, Brad does lose out to who is number 16, Lachlan Boyd, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Oh, I don't know if they touched there, John, but it looks like they got pretty close. Someone's touched. Was that Russell and Lachlan?
I think they all managed to avoid each other, but it was pretty tight.
Wow. Now, obviously, I assume these cars here, look at the gap Alan's got already, got a huge gap. But I'm assuming there's going to be a bit of a draft vest here, though. So I'm assuming if they can stay with him, they might be able to get in this draft. But Alan's got a huge lead already. What's that, 10 car lengths, 15 car lengths already?
Yeah, although there's obviously a couple of places where you get a draft here, but you need to be quick up and down the mountain as well. Otherwise, you just lose the draft completely. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Alan just looks too fast for everybody.
Yeah, if quality's anywhere to go by. Brad Fenley, though, is pretty quick. Mr. Consistency, never count him out. He's been doing this series a long time, driven this car a long time. Obviously likes his beer as well, and actually really nice guy. And as I said, wouldn't count your chickens before they've hatched there, John. And as you know, anything can happen when you hit that wall once, and it's all over. But yeah, it looks like those two might be the class of the field here today. I've never done the race here in the Solstice. I'm assuming it's probably a bit less scary going down the mountain, or is it still pretty much seat of the pants sort of stuff?
I did a couple of races in the Solstice just for fun, and it's just as scary coming down the mountain. The problem is it feels like it takes 25 minutes to get down Conrad Straight because the Solstice has got no top end at all. I'm sure we'll see later when the Mustangs lap the Solstices. The speed difference down the straight is incredible.
It is really scary, and I know you come up with them and you think I'm never going to catch them, and you're 10 car lengths back, and before you know it, you've gone past them and you're 10 car lengths ahead of them before you've even reached the chase. So yeah, you can see that. Yeah, other interesting fact about Bathurst, people actually live along all those houses on the inside. So yeah, apart from when it's being used as a racetrack, it is actually public roads. Back to the Mustang battle. Ben's still out in the lead from Lewis, but looks like they're getting very close to that wall. It looks like he's got a bit more damage to the right front. I don't know, has he hit the wall again?
He hit the curb hard there.
Yeah, he was lucky to get away with that. That was very, very similar to what John Barry did. And as you saw what happened to John, went straight on and just destroyed the steering. So interesting to see if he's got any steering damage. So he's throwing that thing around. These guys are leaving nothing on the table. They're all on the ragged edge here. Who are we with now? Back with Ben. Coming down Conroy. Well, he's got a decent lead, but those three have checked out from, I think, John Barry in fourth. No, it won't be John Barry. Will it'll be Penner. John Barry's obviously back in the pits and having repaired himself, but they're not sort of separated from each other. This is anyone's race at this point in time. I was a betting man. I don't know whose horse I'd want to put my money on.
Well, you'd have to fancy Ben, but anything can happen at this track, and Lewis is a real expert at this track, and Troy is damned handy as well. So, yeah, any one of these three could still win this.
Well, it is technically Lewis's local track. He's actually born and raised in Wollongong, which is only a couple of hours away from Bathurst. So it would be his local track. So yeah, you'd expect him to be quick around there. I think he's closed up a little bit as well. It looks like he closed up a couple of car lengths under brakes.
Yeah, he seems to be very quick through the chase. So he's closed up on Ben, but Troy's hanging on well as well.
Yeah, this is okay. It'll be interesting to see. Has he got a good enough run here? The Ben's going to have to guard to the inside, because this is a very, very long straight into Griffin's Bend. So 1.1 kilometre straight. It's how long Mountain Straight is. So it's a long, long straight. It's about the length of the old straight at the Chinese Grand Prix. I don't know if it relates to the Baku Grand Prix, but it's a decent length straight. So plenty of opportunities to drag the person in front of you. Troy's car looks fairly clean, so out of the three of them it looks like he hasn't hit the wall, or if he has I can't see any damage, so maybe that'll play to his advantage later on. But yeah, these guys look like they're the class of the Mustang field. The other thing to worry about is that at some point they will encounter traffic, and traffic here can be very, very difficult. If you catch them along the top, across the top of the mountain, it's pretty much only one lane, so it's very hard to overtake. Oh, are they hitting the wall there? It looks like they are. They're getting, if not, they're getting ridiculously close.
Yeah, they're getting so close to the wall everywhere.
Yeah, it's just, they are really, really pushing. This is probably why they were about 3 to 4 seconds a lap quicker than I was, because I couldn't do that. Oh, someone's hit the wall again. I heard a noise. I didn't see it. That Ben again. Has he hit the other side?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't see any more damage on his car yet, but we'll get a better view down the straight.
Yeah, that's true. I think Troy got a really good run. I think Lewis got a really good run out of the Griffin's Bend as well. Sorry, Forest Elbow. So yeah, is Ben going to have to go defensive here, or is Lewis going to get him?
Lewis has got him. I think that Ben has damaged his car now. Yeah, you can see a little bit of damage on the left as well now.
Yeah, he has. So I wonder if he's got some steering damage, because that'll make him slower. Well, he's fighting back on the inside of the chase. If he has got damage, it's going to be key that Troy gets past him as well now, because he doesn't want to get stuck behind the guy if he's wounded slightly. This might be a good opportunity. Is he going to get him up the inside under brakes? Oh, he thought about it. That could have ended in disaster. That you got to be careful clipping that. One of the slower Mustangs letting them all go by. That's very nice to see. Doesn't want to get involved in their battle, and you can see Lewis was obviously being held up. He's already pulled out a couple of car links already.
Yeah,
and
Troy's got to get past very soon, otherwise Lewis is going to check out here.
That's exactly right, especially if he's quicker, and especially if Ben's got a little bit of damage. But as I said, let's not count Ben Snell out. Even with the damage, he, as I said, hasn't lost a race in this GTC Challenge this season. So this might be the week, but until that happens, I wouldn't be counting it out. But it looks like Lewis is just quicker than him, especially if he's got some damage as well. Yeah, whereas Lewis's damage doesn't look as bad. So yeah, they really, really like to get close to that wall, don't they? And as you said, it looks like the walls do seem to move in on people. But you can see what I mean about how narrow it is up there. There really is only one line. Like if you can't really overtake anyone up here. Oh, I think they must be hitting that wall. If they're not, I don't know how they're not, because they're running right up on that curb. Yeah, Troy looks like he's got a nice run, but his best bet is I think he needs to sit behind him, try to get a good run coming out of Forest Elbow and get him down Comrade Straight like what Lewis does. I think Ben definitely hit the wall there. I saw sparks coming out.
Yeah, that was a big hit on the wall. And
look at that.
He's got real damage on the left front now as well.
Oh yeah, that's got to affect his steering, and if not, definitely his top end speed. This has got to be the moment. Troy's got to get him now. Otherwise, yeah, you're right. Lewis will check out if he doesn't do that. That house over there was one of these houses along Conroy Straight recently was for sale. I think they wanted sort of close to $1 million. So if you want to live close to the track, boys and girls, one of these things is available. Beautiful shot of the chase. He's just not close enough. It doesn't. I don't know how he's not. Oh, he's got a good run here. Can he get him up the inside? Ben blocks to the inside. Ben's car does look pretty second-hand, doesn't it? It's looks like Pastor Maldonado's taking it for a bit of a spin.
Yeah, it's weird. Troy seems to be struggling on straight line speed for some reason. Maybe his setup's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's interesting because there aren't many things you can change on the Mustang setup-wise. I mean, you can change some of the springs and stuff, but you can't change the wing angle and things like that. So I can't explain why he's not getting as much top-end speed as that. I thought they'd all be pretty similar in top-end speed. Maybe he's just not getting as good a corner exit. But yeah, look at Ben's car. That looks really ugly. I mean, that. There's a lot of damage there, John, isn't there? It looks like not a lot of it's. Oh, he's sliding again. Yeah, he must have wheel damage. I mean, you can see his whole right-hand side wheel's exposed. If he doesn't have wheel damage, I don't know what else he can do to the car, you know. Troy seems to be quicker. Troy's alongside him. You're not gonna. Oh, is he? Surely he's not going to go and get him up there. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And that's what I mean. He must be really frustrated. He's seeing Lewis just disappear off into the distance, and he just can't get past Ben. Ben. Oh, I think Ben's hit the wall again. It looks like he scraped that wall. Oh, he's all over the place, Ben. Look at that. He's drifting through the corners.
He's letting Troy through now.
Oh, nice. Okay. Did he let him through, or did he just run wide?
Well, I think he hit the curb and he realised that it was game over for him, and so he let Troy go.
Oh, he's hit the wall again on the inside of through the dipper. He hit the wall again. How many times has he hit the wall now, John? 4 or 5?
Yeah, at least that. I think he's going to have to make a stop here and fix his car. He's really struggling.
Yeah, well, if he's got some wheel damage, he's going to have to. But also in iRacing, they give what they call meatball flags, or the damage flags if you obviously take too much damage. If he has one of them, he'll have to pit, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to carry on. If he keeps going like this, he's going to just end up binning it. So
the last thing you want at this track is bent steering, because it's hard enough to get around it anyway.
That's exactly right. And obviously, we're looking back at John Barry, his cars. He looks like he went into the pits, I think, early after his 3. So it looks like he's hit something again. Looks like he's run up the back of someone, but he's slowly carving his way back up through the field. He's up to 7th place, which is pretty good. But yeah, what do you reckon? I didn't see what happened. He obviously. Do you think he ran up the back of someone?
Yeah, he must have. Probably one of the guys he was trying to overtake. He's come pretty much from last.
Back to sort of 7th. So that's a really good effort. But yeah, he's just got to be careful. He doesn't obviously do any damage and overheat the Mustang. I've never heard of the engines blowing from that, but got to be careful there as well. He's almost repeated what he did at Skyline before.
Oh, he hit the wall.
Oh, is that the end of his race now? Has he destroyed his car, or is he going to be okay? He got a real tank slapper on there.
Yeah, I think that could be game over for him.
Yeah, it looks like he's got some serious damage to the left-hand side. Yeah, it looks like he's really slow and struggling. And you can see how it can just end in a moment like that. He just went a little bit too deep through the dipper, just got loose, and then hit the wall on one end and basically ping-ponged into the other. So I suppose it's good for the other people he didn't spin it, because there would have been cars behind him that he could have hit into. Luckily, he didn't take anyone else with him. But yeah, the car doesn't looks a little bit prettier than Ben Snell's car, but I suppose that's like, which that doesn't really make you feel any better, does it? Yeah, he's got some serious damage to that left-hand side. He must have wheel damage. I think that might be the end of his race. Yeah, you can see, is he pitting in? Yeah, he's pitting in, so he's already used his free reset, so he can probably get that repaired, but he might be so far down, he might just park it. That might be the end of his race. Back to Lewis at the front, and he's got a big lead, and he's actually starting to catch up to the Jettas now. The only thing that Troy has going for him here is Lewis does have a propensity to have very, very bad internet. I know when he raced with us a lot, he had a lot of disconnections and a lot of key moments. I'm not wishing that upon him, but Troy in the back of his mind must be thinking, come on, just hope your internet dies, and he gets disconnected, because I don't see any other way he's going to catch him other than a mechanical failure like that. I think that Lewis has pretty much got this thing in the bag.
Yeah, I think they're very similar speeds, but I think Lewis has been getting through the traffic a little bit better than Troy, so he's edging away a little bit every lap on Troy. So it's going to be really tough for Troy to catch him. But it just takes one hit on a wall or one of the solstices to hold Lewis up big time, and Troy will be on him.
That's exactly right. Like, if you happen to catch the cars at the wrong point, you got okay sort of with Brian there, but if you happen to get a gaggle of them at this sort of part of the track, it's almost impossible to overtake people through Skyline and those sort of, through McPhillamy and all down here. So yeah, it really depends, but it looks like Lewis is in a pretty good position. Troy was also a little bit unlucky. He lost a little bit of time early behind Ben when Ben had all that damage. I think, has he hit the wall? Has Lewis just hit the wall?
I don't know. I think he had a little scrape.
Okay, well, he's got to be careful because, as we talked about, it doesn't take much. And you can see the speed difference there. Straight past him. It was like Brad Fenley was, standing still. Look, he's already pulled out 3-4 car lengths before they've even got to the chase. So, as you said, John, what'd you do? You do your tax return when you're in the solstice down the straight? Is that the best way to pass the time?
I think so. You can certainly have a good look at the houses on the side of the track.
I don't know if we go to Le Mans this season. I don't think we do, but I know some of the solstice drivers said that if you think this is bad with 1.9 kilometre, those 3 kilometre long straights at Le Mans, you really did manage to. You could do your tax return and I think read War and Peace and still have plenty of time to go. So, okay, we're on to the final lap for Lewis. Yeah, so he's coming up to a bit of traffic. So this could be what Troy needs, but Troy's a long way back. So I think that. Yeah, that looks like it. That might be it. It depends. If he catches those Jettas at an awkward moment and gets bulked, Troy might have a chance, but it looks like Troy's just, 3-4 seconds behind him at this point in time?
Yeah, something like that, I think. And, this shouldn't be too unexpected. 2 years ago, Lewis was one of the best Mustang drivers on iRacing, so the fact that he's leading here at his home track shouldn't really be a surprise. It's just that he hasn't practiced much, but someone with his kind of talent doesn't need to practice very much anyway.
That's exactly right, and he does obviously have the number one car in his thing, not because he's the defending champion, but because he has the highest I rating of anyone in the thing. So once again, if it sticks to form, the guy with the highest I rating is generally the quickest person. I think his I rating is about 4,400. You start with 1,350, I think. So you can see he was obviously the class of the field, but that he is actually catching those two Jettas, and he is going to catch them as they head towards Skyline and the Dipper. So I think he's going to be okay, but he might lose a little bit of time here. This could be closer than we think it is.
He shouldn't lose much because the Jettas are almost as fast as the Mustang through this section.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Just trying to look on the positive side. I want to see a battle at the end. We've had so many good battles in this broadcast this season. Just hoping to see another one. But yeah, it looks like if he makes it out of here, he's really only got the chase to negotiate. So he should, at this point in time, barring a major catastrophe, it looks like Ben Schnell's win streak is going to be over. It looks like we're going to have a new winner for season. What are we? Season 3, 2017. Season 4, 2017.
Yeah, season 4.
Season 4. The iRacing seasons confuse me. But yeah, he's getting past the Jetta battle. He might just sit behind this other Jetta into the last corner. He doesn't really need to overtake him. I know. Yeah, it's a fantastic effort by Lewis here, as you said. Hasn't done a lot of practice. We haven't seen a lot of him. It takes an absolutely fantastic wing in the Mustang. Hit the wall a couple of times, but nothing major. You can see he's obviously really happy with that result. Looks like second place is going to go to Troy, and then I think in third place, I think Ben managed to actually limp back into third place because he obviously fixed his car. Yeah, you can see him here. Look at that. Despite having a beat up car, he's managed to get into third, so that's actually a hell of a job. Didn't have to pit, and to finish third with that amount of damage and steering damage, he'll be happy with that. That's really good for his championship.
He took the fast reset and he's damaged his car again since then. So
oh, is he really? Oh, wow.
He's done well to get up to third.
Okay, here we got some bonus footage. For those who don't know, the wall down at the end, instead of going right through the chase, you can you can do the jump. You just go straight ahead. There's a bit of a lip through the sand trap. So at the end of the race, this is a pretty common thing for people to do. So you can see here, you just go straight on. Is he going to make it? What do you reckon? I think he's going to go. Oh, wow. He's got stuck at the tire wall. Oh, that is gold. That is absolutely fantastic.
That would
I have never
pulled about 10G when he hit when he went into the wall there.
Here we go. Here's Lewis with his victory thing. Is he going to aim for Troy, or is he just going to try to launch over him? Oh, I think he clipped him. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is gold. That is epic. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think he got Troy's car and it just launched him into the air. That was brilliant.
Oh, that is fantastic. So yeah, guys, if you ever race at Bathurst, just make sure, obviously, you wait till the end of the race to do that. But yeah, he's going to try to finish. He's not. Come on, Lewis. You can't keep going with that sort of damage. Okay, so the final results, obviously, we had Lewis Kugeley, followed by Troy McGraw, Ben Snell, Panu Pesson managed to finish fourth. I managed to just avoid all the carnage and finish fifth, and then Kieran Bryan, Gary Fishwicker, I think, had to take a couple of resets, and then Stephen Patmore. I have to edit some of that out. And then in the Jetters, you've got Jackson Frere won quite easily by the look of it from Gareth Lavelle. Russell managed to hold on to third. Brian De Bruin with a finished fourth on his return, and Dan Baker number 2. So yeah, Jackson managed to not get lapped, only just, but the other guys were all a lap down, so we don't know the exact distance. But for the championship, that's a fantastic result for Jackson. Extends his lead over Gustavo. And in the Solstice, Alan Opilock was the class of the field. Managed to fastest up about a second quicker than Brad Fenley, Craig Hopkins. Mark Naderon in the Mustang must have had a couple of issues because he's 2 laps down. Frank Algarim and Jolo Pedro Mendes. Apologies again if I don't pronounce your names properly. Not as many Celsius as we would have thought, but a fantastic race. And yeah, I look forward to next week. Next week I think we're at Snetterton, which is a brand new track to iRacing. It's a classic track in the UK. My dad raves about the track. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It'll be a new track for everyone. It'll be interesting to hopefully Lewis comes back. Hopefully Gustavo comes back. And yeah, hopefully we get some really good action. So yeah, until next week, I'm Oliver Sells. Goodbye.
Okay, and goodbye from me as well. And looking forward to Snetterton. It's a really good track. I've been there a couple of times to watch races, and it normally produces good races.